Hey guys, Mike here. Doing a little work upstairs today. I meant to be cooking for Christmas Eve and putting some things in the fridge, but I couldn't get what I needed. I have to go back out tomorrow. So I figured instead of being frustrated and angry, I'd come up here and work on the Spitfire. This one is the CARF Spitfire. See this beautiful molding here. They really did a beautiful job on this wing. There's dips and wiggles and puckers where the panels would get pulled in by the rivets, and it really looks very, very cool. Well, what I'm doing today is, and let me pause for 2 seconds. What I'm doing today is I'm trying to get the other flap set up. This is the flap that was set up by John, the fellow that I bought this from, and he did a really super job. Comes down to almost 90 degrees, these flaps. So I'm trying to get the other one to match, and it just wasn't working. I was getting it to about 75 degrees and 75, 80, but it just wasn't matching this 90 degree, and it wasn't nearly as smooth. When I realized that he had trimmed away a good portion of this trailing edge before the leading edge of the flap. I'll go back to the other one and show you what I mean. Now, I guess I should have started this video before I clamped the straight edge, the ruler, in place, but there's a bit of edge here that I've started cutting already. I wanted to make sure it worked before I posted it, but you can see there's a little row of what will give the impression of rivets here that you don't see on the other wing, and that's because John, in clearancing the flap, had cut further forward. So he cut out the correct size flap to mount to what amounts to a torque rod. It's really not, it's just a hinge. And then, since he didn't work on this wing, he wasn't really aligning them. And I couldn't get this thing to line up. The back edge of the flap would stick out, and you would see it above when you were looking at the wing from the top. And I realized very slowly, because I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, that I needed to trim this part of the wing to take off about 2 or 3 millimeters here. So let me do some of that. I'm using the hot knife. You guys should have picked up a couple of these by now. They really work well. Let me get it into spot here. Now I'm going to cut an inch or two, and then I'm going to pause it again. I'm putting, very little pressure, 8 or 9 ounces of pressure on here to get that to cut. Oh, I'm sorry, do I have it? I'm trying to watch where I'm cutting and not the screen. So I don't know if I was missing it. But I'm letting the blade do the work, the hot blade do the work. I do have to move it because once the heat leaches out into the part, it kind of stops cutting. So, and that metal straight edge probably isn't helping a lot. It's probably pulling some of the heat off of the blade. Now, let me cut it off here. Let me see if I can. Okay. All right. Pause for a second. You can see how cleanly that cuts the fiberglass, the thin fiberglass, the gel coat, and I don't know what this stuff is called. Aerocell. It's a very, very thin layer of foam that stiffens the fiberglass without adding much weight. I don't think it adds a ton of strength, but it keeps the panels from being flicked. I'm pushing pretty hard, and it's not going through. So it's a very lightweight layer of fiberglass, gel coat, and then that aerocell, I don't know what it's called. But it cuts really, really beautifully. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to cut, and hopefully it won't shut off. Well, there it is. Wow, that came out nice. That is pretty darn straight. I don't know if it's focusing on the right spot. There we go. Look at that. Nice clean edge. All right, let's pause it again and see if the flaps work. Well, there it goes. Needs a little bit of tweaking, but let's see how it works. That is further than it needs to go. Nice and smooth. I like it. Try it from this side. Boom. I'm going to call that good. All right. Adventures building with a hot knife. And this is out of focus. Crap. Sorry, guys.